Hey everyone, it's Sean and welcome to Invest with Fire. In this video, I'm going to go over highlights of Pinterest's third quarter 2020 earnings and give my opinion if Pinterest is still a buy after earnings. Before I dive into it, and if you're new here and want to maximize returns by learning and staying up to date with Pinterest, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us. One metric to track Pinterest progress is global monthly active users. The more users that use Pinterest, the more Pinterest will be able to monetize the user base. Pinterest breaks down their global MAU into two categories, US and international markets. Pinterest reported third quarter monthly active users of 98 and 343 million for the US and international markets for a combined total of 442 million users. Dude, that's like a 37% increase year over year. A lot of growth is coming from internationally and has been accelerated due to people staying inside in 2020. It's good to compare Pinterest MAU to one of the largest players in online advertising, which is Facebook. Facebook has 2.74 billion monthly active users as of Q3 2020. This shows how big Facebook is. If Pinterest can get 1/4 as many MAUs, which is about 675 million MAUs, this is what we are looking for. This would be incredible, especially since people come to Pinterest with an intent to buy. We'll take a look at revenue. Pinterest makes money from advertisers where they allow advertisers to market their pin or product. And I've also broken down revenue into US and international revenue because most of Pinterest revenue comes from the US market. And the reason for this is because they focused on monetizing the US market first because people in the US love to buy things. International revenue was 69 million and US revenue was 374 million, which brings the total revenue to 443 million in this past quarter. And that's an increase of 58% year over year. On average, Pinterest is increasing their revenue 48% for the past couple of years. That's an amazing growth rate, and this shows that Pinterest is growing at an incredible rate. Revenue was higher than average this quarter because businesses are now shifting advertising online, and Pinterest is adding new advertising features such as auto bidding and allowing e-commerce stores to upload the catalog to Pinterest. Pinterest is expecting Q4 revenue to grow 60% year over year. In Q4 2019, Pinterest revenue was 400 million. So if the revenue is growing 60%, that's 640 million. If they're able to do this, this will be one of their highest revenue quarters. Next, we'll go over a metric called ARPU, which stands for average revenue per user. This basically measures monetization. ARPU is calculated by taking the total revenue and dividing that by MAU. US ARPU was $3.85, which is an increase of 31% year over year. International ARPU was 21 cents, an increase of 61% year over year. All these percentage increases are about on average what Pinterest has been increasing their ARPU for the past couple of years. International ARPU remains in the early stages, and Pinterest will begin to start monetizing internationally. And this will be a huge growth driver for Pinterest. It's a good sign that Pinterest is continuing to increase their monetization. Q4 looks to be very promising. However, Pinterest is still not profitable. Their net income loss for this past quarter was 94 million, which is less than the average. So that's pretty good. I'm not too worried that Pinterest is not profitable yet because they're growing at such a fast rate. But of course, I'm gonna keep my eye on this. Another good thing about Pinterest is that they have really high margins. They posted a margin of 74%. They are a very profitable business, and it's expected because they're a software company. Before I go into valuation, please do your own research and don't take this as investing advice. I calculated Pinterest forward valuation into 2022 using the latest earnings and assumed a growth rate of 33%, and cost of revenue and expenses will be 700 millions. And I used multiples of 15 and 35. I kept my numbers conservative to account for Pinterest not performing as well as we would like. I predict Pinterest stock price to range from $70 to $164 by 2022. With Pinterest stock price jumping to around the $60 mark as of October 30th, Pinterest is looking a bit overvalued at the moment. However, you can't ignore their huge growth numbers, especially when they monetize their international markets in the future, and their strong guidance for Q4 revenue. Pinterest is still biting me, but if you plan to take a big position in it, I would wait a bit to see if the stock price dips. However, no one can really time the market, so usually the best strategy is to dollar cost average in. I appreciate your support, and if you could take 1 second to like this video if you found it valuable. And if you want to continue to get updates on Pinterest, subscribe.